Sometimes life changes in the blink of an eye. A single moment can shatter everything you thought you knew. Your family, your future, your heart. This is the story of a man who lost his wife and fought to keep his family together against all odds. It's a story of pain, resilience, and the power of love that refuses to break. Welcome to this journey. A true story about abandonment, survival, and the strength to build a new life from the ashes. Let's dive in. 22 years ago, everything I knew about my life shattered and reshaped itself in the span of a single day. I was 32 then, working grueling double shifts at a steel mill in Cleveland. The kind of work that crushes your body but keeps your family afloat. After clocking out at midnight, I trudged home, expecting the usual noise. My 3 kids chasing each other through the hallway, the smell of dinner simmering on the stove, the TV blaring cartoons in the living room. But the house was silent. No laughter, no footsteps, no familiar chaos. Just a neatly folded piece of paper sitting on the kitchen counter under the dull glow of the overhead light. I picked it up and read the words that would upend my entire world. I'm seeking my own happiness. This isn't the life I imagined. Please don't look for me. Those 8 simple sentences obliterated 7 years of marriage. My wife Rachel was gone. Left behind were our 3 children. Mason, then 6, Tessa, 4, and baby Caleb, barely a year old. But Rachel didn't just leave. She orchestrated her disappearance. While I was chained to the mill's furnace, she packed a suitcase with chosen belongings. Under the pretense of running an urgent errand, she dropped the kids off at my mother's house and slipped away, boarding a flight to California with her new companion, a smooth-talking salesman named Greg, who dealt in used boats and smelled of heavy cologne. I didn't realize she was gone until my mother called me during a rare break. I'd missed her first 3 calls, swallowed up by the deafening roar of the steel press. When I finally answered, her voice trembled. Rachel left the kids with me. She's disappeared. By the time I got home, Rachel was airborne, already miles away. Her family was stunned when they heard, but soon their sympathy turned into subtle accusations. Maybe I hadn't been enough for her emotionally. The suggestion ignited a fire inside me. I cut them off and never looked back. That first night was pure agony. Caleb cried himself hoarse, searching for his mother's warmth. Tessa kept asking when Mommy would return from her errand, clueless that it was forever. Mason, old enough to understand, sat by the window, eyes fixed on an empty street, waiting for a ghost. Sleep was a stranger. I held them all tight, desperate to keep what remained of our family from slipping through my fingers. I'd survived brutal winters and scorching summers working steel, but nothing had prepared me for single fatherhood with 3 kids under 7. I changed shifts to mornings, 4:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., so I could handle school drop-offs and aftercare. My foreman, a grizzled man named Hank, pulled me aside one day. "You're not quitting," he said firmly. "We'll find a way to make it work. Your kids need you steady." He covered for me when daycare called and never questioned my priorities. The divorce was straightforward. Rachel didn't contest the abandonment claim or even show up for court. Full custody, the house, everything fell into my hands. I refused any financial support from her. I wanted her out of our lives. The early years were merciless. Explaining to a first grader why his Mother's Day card went to Grandma. Watching my daughter twirl on stage at her recital with an empty chair where her mom should have been. Teaching Mason to ride his bike as he fought back tears for a mother who'd left. I never badmouthed Rachel. Kids sense who's there and who chooses not to be. Dating was unthinkable. My world was steel and my children. For 5 years that was enough. Then came Lauren. She was the nurse who treated Tessa after a fall on the playground left her with a broken arm. As Lauren wrapped the cast, Tessa, then 10, blurted out, "You're beautiful. My dad's single. I wish I could disappear." Lauren laughed softly. "Let's fix the arm first." We dated quietly for 2 years before Lauren met the kids. She never tried to replace Rachel, she just showed up. Mason was the first to warm up to her, then Tessa. Caleb, with no real memories of Rachel, embraced her instantly. We married when Caleb was 11. The ceremony was simple, a backyard gathering. At the reception, Tessa leaned over and whispered, "She's the mom we were meant to have." Tears streamed down my face. The kids flourished. Mason became a skilled carpenter, earning more than I ever did. Tessa pursued teaching, and Caleb finished his engineering degree with honors. Rachel, meanwhile, faded into a distant memory. No calls, no letters, silence, until last month. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was under Lauren's car, changing the oil, while she prepared dinner. The doorbell rang. Lauren opened the door and froze. There, standing in the fading light, was Rachel. Her hair streaked with gray, eyes tired and desperate, clutching a battered suitcase. "I'm here for David," she said, voice shaking. "I'm his first wife, Rachel." I looked at her, surprised but steady. Unexpected. Running into an old friend at the market is unexpected. This is audacity. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she begged to see the kids. "I made a mistake," she said. "A mistake is forgetting your keys," I replied. "You chose to abandon 3 children." She confessed that Greg had left her, that she was homeless and living in her car. "You're my family," she pleaded. Lauren scoffed. "Family? Honey, you don't know the meaning. I'm his family. I raised those kids." Just then Mason pulled into the driveway. Towering and strong. He glanced at Rachel and said flatly, "You're her. But you're not my mom. My mom's right there." He kissed Lauren on the cheek and walked past Rachel, who stood frozen. "He doesn't know me," she whispered. "That's what happens when you abandon a 6-year-old. I told her to leave or I'd call the police." She left, but it wasn't over. Over the next 3 days, she showed up at Mason's job site, Tessa's school, Caleb's college campus, only to be rejected again and again. Mason called her biological contributor. Tessa told her, "Thanks for leaving. That was your best parenting move." Caleb, always polite, said, "You taught me how to live without you, and I've perfected it." Then, unbelievably, she sued me for parental alienation and emotional distress. The judge dismissed the case in 10 minutes flat. "You abandoned your children. You have no claim here." We thought that was the end. It wasn't. Rachel started contacting Tessa's fiancé's family, accusing me of abuse and control. I hired a private investigator. Within days, the truth came out. Greg had drained her accounts and left her for someone younger. She'd been fired for theft, arrested for fraud, evicted multiple times. She wasn't seeking family. She was desperate and broke. When I shared this with the kids, Mason cracked a bitter smile. "So she traded us for Greg, and now she's shocked?" We laughed, blocked her on every channel, and thought it was over. We were wrong. 2 weeks ago, Tessa called me, her voice tight. "Dad, she showed up at the church." My stomach dropped. Tessa's wedding was a month away, and Rachel had targeted it. She confronted Tessa's fiancé, Warren, and his parents in the parking lot after premarital counseling, claiming to be Tessa's real mother, and warning them about our dangerous family. Tessa said, "She's unhinged." Lauren folded laundry beside me without missing a beat. "It's time to push back." I contacted my lawyer. No more responding to her chaos. We filed for a harassment restraining order. For me, Lauren, and the kids. The PI's report laid it all bare. Abandonment, decades of silence, unwanted contact, disruption at workplaces and schools, and lies. At the hearing, Rachel appeared in a faded black dress, playing the victim, claiming she just wanted to reconnect. The judge didn't buy it. "You left 3 minors for over 20 years. You don't rebuild by stalking them as adults. This is harassment, not reconciliation." He granted a 5-year no-contact order. That weekend, we held a barbecue in our backyard. Mason grilled steaks. Tessa brought wine. Caleb played his guitar. Mason raised his glass. To the woman who stayed. "Mom." He looked at Lauren, who smiled with eyes full of love. Tessa added, "And to Dad, who kept us grounded when everything was falling apart." Caleb strummed a chord and said, And to Rachel, thanks for leaving. You gave us the life we were meant to have. Laughter filled the air. It wasn't anger anymore. It was peace. This story reminds us that family is more than biology. It's about who chooses to stay, to love, and to stand by you when everything falls apart. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe to support more real-life stories of hope and healing. And remember, no matter how dark the night, the dawn always comes. Thank you for watching. Stay strong and take care of each other.